the ultimate Barner.
War Eagle, baby!
War Eagle.
War Eagle, hey!
The lifelong Bammer.
Roll Tide, Bama Nation.
Roll Tide. This is the Tigers and Tide podcast. All the latest news from Auburn, Alabama, and the SEC. Here are your hosts, Brett Mason and Jamie Thomas.
Well, here we go with another big podcast talking some Auburn football this week with my partner in crime, Jamie Thomas. War Eagle, man.
Yeah, what you said.
We're going to talk about LSU coming to the Plains this weekend, which is one of the main reasons I like Auburn to take care of business, so we'll just jump right into it. LSU's kind of iffy this year for a lot of reasons, not the least of which has been quarterback issues. Les Miles stepped up this week and named a quarterback, so we're going to be looking at Brandon Harris, which interestingly enough, Malzahn recruited pretty heavily to be the next Cam Newton. So it's not like Auburn doesn't know a lot about this kid, and he obviously has potential. And I think Les finally made the right decision, but the whole quarterback issues thing will kill any team. And I think that's probably going to improve their game now that he made that decision this week. Probably changes the complexity of the game a little bit.
I think so too. I mean, looking at his stats, I didn't know a whole lot about him. He got some pretty good reps in the Mississippi State game. Looks like he was 6 for 9. And then against New Mexico State, he was 11 for 14 for 170 yards. Just kind of comparing him to Anthony Jennings.
Oh, it ain't even close.
Completed 50% of his passes this year, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I mean, this Brandon Harris kid, he's at 73% with 6 touchdowns and interception, and has thrown the ball, 50 less times. So I think this is a move in the right direction for LSU.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. It makes you wonder why this didn't happen sooner, but nevertheless, it's happened, and I think it's given a week of having a set quarterback, it's going to give you a set game plan. I think we'll see a little bit different LSU than what we've seen in every other game leading up to the Auburn game, which gives me some concern as they're coming in. Of course, I have plenty of concerns. Auburn does not have and it comes to the offensive line, and I said that at the beginning of the season. Trey Mason was a beast, but a lot of the reason he was a beast was because that offensive line last year opened up holes you could drive a truck through, and we just do not have that offensive line this year. They're good, but they're not last year good. And then Artis Payne obviously isn't a Trey Mason, Auburn isn't the we can run on anybody team this year, and we dare you to try and stop us that they were last year. And I think they're struggling with their identity, which is forcing them to ask this Nick Marshall to pass more. And I'm still just not sold on Nick Marshall as a passer. I'm just not.
I don't think really anybody is, and I don't understand. I mean, we don't see it in Cameron Artis Payne. You compared him to Trey Mason. Trey Mason, when he got football, he was like a rocket hitting the hole. Artis Payne just seems to have a little bit of a little bit of indecisiveness in his running. He wants to take that extra stutter step and maybe try to find the hole. My big question is, you've got this true freshman in Rock Thomas. Why are we not seeing more of him on the football field?
Well, I had that question too, and then I saw a couple of press conferences now in the last week and a half with Gus Malzahn, and he seems sold out on Cameron Artis Payne. Just talks about how phenomenal he is, what a great job he's doing. He doesn't seem concerned at all. And granted, Artis Payne is okay, but you obviously put Rock Thomas on the field. You got him fielding kickoffs and stuff, so you're not worried about redshirting. You're going to play him. Let's stick him in there and see what happens.
Absolutely. Give him the ball 15 or 20 times in a game and see what he can do.
And not only that, last week would have been the perfect opportunity to do that. You knew the game wouldn't be on the line. You knew you wouldn't be risking anything. Let's get in there and get him some actual real in-game reps. And at worst case scenario, in case you need him. Because, our other running back options are a speed sweep type running back. You don't have the guy that's going to bust between the tackles. So, those are your two guys for that. Nevertheless, we'll see what happens. I don't think anything's going to be amazing on offense until we get these issues with the O-line worked out, and I just don't know if that's possible because they had to move people around. And they're not horrible They're just not the beast that they were last year. That leaves us up to passing. Thank God we've got Duke Williams, who can pull one-handed passes between two defenders out of the air.
Oh, he's amazing.
That dude is a freak. He's just a freak. It's like he's magnetic, and the ball just sticks to him when it gets close to him. I don't know how it does that. You need a guy like that to make Nick Marshall look good.
He's definitely keeping Nick Marshall in the starting quarterback position, that's for sure.
I saw Malzahn talking about how clutch Nick Marshall is when the game's on the line, and we've had 2 times now we're close to the end of the game. You've seen this guy just pull freak passes out of the air, and I'm like, no, he's not all that clutch. Really, it's your receiver that's clutch. So it's interesting. I mean, we have a bevy of receivers, though, man. We got some guys that can pull it in and go. So if he can just get it close to him, we got the guys that can get it done. That being said, stats, we talked about this in the Alabama podcast. I'm a stats freak. Auburn is doing a little better than 60% third down conversions, and LSU is at 41. That could change with the new quarterback setup. I don't know. We're both about the same in red zone offense. Auburn's 100% in the red zone. LSU's at 90%. I think if it comes down to being a tight game, I think Auburn can maybe pull it out. I think we're going to win, but mainly because it's at home. I'll be honest with you. If we weren't at home, I think we'd probably lose this game, or we'd have a shot at losing it. That's how I feel about it.
Well, I think it's going to be close. I don't see a ton of points being scored in this game just because I think defensively LSU is pretty good. Offensively, I don't think they're that good at all. I think the X factor in this game is going to be the head coach, Les Miles. He gets his players motivated in big-time football games. They love playing at night. They love going into other stadiums at night and shutting the crowd up. And I can promise you he's going to have something up his sleeve. I wouldn't surprise me if we see a fake punt early in the game, or a fake field goal early in the game, or an onside kick early in the game. The Mad Hatter's going to be out in full force and do everything he can to give his team an opportunity to win. And the thing about LSU is they started off a little slow in the past. They always seem to get it together in time for the meat of the season. I think it's going to be a good football game. I think these are 2 teams that are, like you said, still struggling for a little bit of an identity, and we're going to find out, which one's ready to take it to the next level Saturday night.
I'm with you on the low-scoring aspect of it, especially by Auburn standards. I think it's going to be low-scoring. I got the game being a 28-24 kind of game. It scares me to say that, but I think it's a field goal game, and I think Auburn pulls it out. But I think it's close. You got to score. What neighborhood do you think it's going to be in?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to give anybody 28. I'm thinking maybe 21-17, somewhere in that area.
Boy, I'm going to tell you, if Auburn comes away from this game with 21 points, this gauntlet that Auburn's got coming up is going to be 100 times worse than it already is, in my opinion. And, we talked about it in the Alabama game podcast about what the season looks like going forward. Looking at Auburn's chances going forward, the gauntlet has begun. I think we may have a slight edge at some of these home games, these away games. God, without that dominating run on anybody's score whenever we want offense that we had last year, it's going to be hard. And Auburn could either look amazing 4 or 5 weeks from now, or Auburn could have lost 2 games 4 weeks from now. It's up in the air as far as I'm concerned.
Unfortunately, I think that's everybody in the Western Division right now. With the schedule like it is and the way the teams are playing, I wouldn't be that sad if Alabama finished the season with only 2 losses, or if I were an Auburn fan, I would think 2 losses would be a great year for them. Considering the talent loss that they had after the end of last year.
Well, all the talking heads on TV have predicted that no SEC team will survive the season without at least 1 loss, and I think if ever there were a year for that, this is the year that definitely is going to be true, which is going to lead to probably more talk about other conferences when we're talking about the Final Four, which they don't seem to take into account. They never do. What kind of conference these SEC teams are playing in.
That's right. Yeah.
So we'll see how it boils down at the end. But hopefully somebody in the SEC is going to take care of business course, being an Auburn fan, I want it to be Auburn. But if it's not, maybe it's Alabama steps up. And at least when we come to the Iron Bowl, it'd be nice if they were both undefeated and that game decided it all again. God, it makes those games great, don't it?
It does. It really does. Even, one loss on either side is probably going to decide who makes it to the SEC championship. So I think if they can both get there with, undefeated or one loss, it's going to be a heck of an Iron Bowl this year.
Well, that's what it's shaping up like. That's the best we got for you. It's going to be a good game. It's a night game under the lights, 6 o'clock kickoff time, and should be a good one, buddy. I appreciate it always. Has fun, and we'll talk to you after the weekend and shake it all down.
All right, man. Sounds good.
Tigers and Tide is a weekly podcast covering football in the state of Alabama and the SEC. We don't claim to be football gurus or talking heads. We're fans just like you. If you like the show, please take a moment to share the link to this episode on your Facebook page. And don't forget to like our page at facebook.com/Tigers and Tide. That's facebook.com/Tigers and Tide. Have a great weekend and War Eagle. And roll Tide.